All right, let's turn our attention now to critical race theory. The left is blaming Republicans for stoking the backlash we're starting to see at school board meetings across the country. Case in point, check out this article from The Atlantic. The headline reads, "The GOP's critical race theory obsession." The article focuses on how conservative politicians and pundits are now talking about this issue. We're one of them talking about these issues. And we're also talking about what CRT is doing to schools. And what about the parents here? We've seen them standing up at school board meetings. Take a look.
Why are we not allowed to discuss names? Why am I not allowed when they purposely themselves expose themselves on social media, talking about calling for the death of a former president, or saying that any child that doesn't believe in Black Lives Matter should be canceled out? Is this what my tax dollars is paying for? You're teaching my children and other children that if they believe in God Almighty, they're part of a cult.
One friend of mine, her kindergarten child came home and said, "Mommy, am I bad because I'm white?" Other kids are being taught that they're not as good as other kids by the color of their skin.
CRT is racist. It is abusive. It discriminates against one's color. Let me educate you. An honest dialogue does not oppress. An honest dialogue does not implement hatred or injustice. It's to communicate without deceiving people. Today, we don't need your agreement. We want action and a backbone.
Now, those are parents, not conservative activists. Let's check in now with North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. Great to see you again, Lieutenant Governor.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
All right, so let's just state the obvious. You are a Republican, and you are actively working to root out CRT from North Carolina schools. But the way most of the press, including that article in The Atlantic, make it sound is that people are only opposed to critical race theory for two reasons. Number one, you're racist if you oppose CRT. Number two, you are resisting the will of teachers. They are the ones who have the right to teach this stuff in classrooms. But you don't fit in those categories, do you?
Absolutely not. What you're seeing people who are endowed with common sense, who understand how damaging this critical race theory and the surrounding teachings can be, not just to our students, not just to our schools, but to our society at large. When people have common sense, have wisdom, they can spot bad things immediately. And CRT is one of those things. It's not a thing where we're saying that this is some big boogeyman because we don't understand it. The problem is we do understand it. We've heard the language in it. We've seen the language in it. We understand how that language is going to affect our society in a negative way if we allow it to continue to weave its way into the fabric of our society. And so folks are standing up against it.
Now, they tried to start doing this stuff kind of quietly. Folks gave it a try. We've seen the division, like you talked about, that's taking root in some of these schools. And now, of course, predictably so, you start to hear about teachers' protests. Take a look at this. Teachers in 22 cities are planning protests over laws restricting these CRT lessons in school. And this is from the USA Today. A teacher is quoted as saying, "Our children deserve to be taught authentic, connective histories." Now, what's really behind these teacher protests, as you're probably not surprised, it's the teachers' unions, not necessarily the teachers themselves, but the teachers' unions. Why are they so strongly pushing for critical race theory in schools?
Well, you know, I could make a lot of speculations about why they're pushing for critical race theory, but in the end, it does not matter. What matters is that parents, teachers, students, and the general population understand how dangerous this is. And we cannot be bullied by the teachers union. For far too long, we have allowed our elected officials and our school leaders to be bullied by the teachers union. It's high time somebody stood up to them and told them exactly what we think and what we believe. And what we believe is this: you do not run the schools. You are not in charge of the schools, and you will not determine what our children learn in the schools. If we see things that are bad in our schools and bad for our school system and bad for society at large, we're ready to take on the teachers union and push back.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the coordination between the Department of Education and the teachers union when it came to masks. That was concerning. Wonder what's going on when it comes to the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. and some of these teachers unions with CRT. I wanted to move on, too, because you know, Tom Cotton yesterday sponsored legislation in the Senate, unanimously passing, making Juneteenth a federal holiday. For folks who don't know, it was on June 19th, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger announced in Galveston, Texas, that the end of slavery had happened according to President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. You know, this also undercuts the left's narrative that Republicans don't care about history, African-American history in this country.
Absolutely. When it comes to history in this country, the black history, so to speak, in this country, the Republican Party has been an integral part of it. As a matter of fact, we have been, the Republican Party is the spark of many of these things. It was the Republican Party that crafted the 13th Amendment and got it passed that actually ended slavery. So this whole narrative that the Republican Party is racist, doesn't care about black people, is ridiculous. The Republican Party has been the party that has stood up throughout time, throughout the history of this country, for this republic, and making sure that it is free for everyone. That narrative that the left spews does not fit historically. It does not fit socially. We are the party that has always fought to make sure that equal rights were available for everyone.
Right, and you can talk about the Tulsa race massacre, you can talk about Juneteenth without making it a partisan issue. Those are important things to remember. Of course, the left doesn't want to have that conversation. They want to make it all about, you know, us versus them, so forth and so on. We know you're not into that. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson from North Carolina, always great to talk to you about this important stuff. Thanks so much.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.